Hey Bayek, it's me Ian. And in today's video, I'm looking at this. This is Black Book from 2006. It is a Dutch film and it's a war drama and it's based on the occupation of Holland in the Second World War by the Nazis, and it's award-winning in Holland and beyond. It has, of course, an important connection with Hollywood in that it's directed by Paul Verhoeven. So this is him returning to his Dutch roots. And the story was by Gerald Sauterman, and Paul Verhoeven was also involved in creating the screenplay with it, as well as, of course, directing it. He, of course, well, look at his filmography. He had an amazing filmography. A Dutch filmmaker who did go to Hollywood. Now, if you look through some of his films, some Dutch, some Hollywood, Soldier of Orange in 1977 was a film that really put him on the map in Holland. Then Flesh and Blood, 1985. RoboCop, of course, there is 1987. That was the Hollywood film. Yes, and then, of course, Total Recall, what a film, 1990. Basic Instinct, yes, 1992. The infamous Showgirls, 1995. Starship Troopers, I mean, these are great films out there, 1999. Hollow Man, 2000. And Benedetta, to 2021, which was his last film. Those are just some of the films. There's more than that. So his impact, I think, on Dutch cinema is absolutely amazing, I think. And this film is now considered as, say, one of the greatest Dutch films ever made. It's that good. The cinematography is by Carl Walter Lindenlaw as well, and that is brilliant. It all comes together well. You can see why in terms of Dutch filmmaking, they're so proud of this film, and it has been considered and voted as the best Dutch film ever. And I think it encompasses a lot of what Holland as a country went through in the Second World War, being occupied by the Nazis, and then we get the resistance, and everything about it's just captures, I think, that nationalism of being Dutch, and not a nationalism in a positive way, not the distorted Nazi way. I think that's an important part to make. So you could describe this film, yes, as a war film, but it's much more than a war film. That is the genius of a great filmmaker, and we've got that here. And I just love this film. I'll just talk a bit more about the background as well to it. It was shot between the 24th of August to the 19th of December 2005. That was all the principal shoot. The locations in Holland were Haarlemmermeer, Giethoorn, The Hague, Delft, Dordrecht, and Israel, of course, yeah, and Delft University of Technology. And 1,200 extras were used in the liberation scenes in The Hague. Again, that adds to the epic quality of this film. This film is an epic. It is. It is. It's an epic. And it's one of those films that you just can't help but love. I think so. I can see why it's so widely acclaimed and why the Dutch people voted it their favourite Dutch film of all time. It just is. And it's based on the Dutch resistance fighter Esme van Heegen. And that is just, wow, what can I say? Now, in the soundtrack LP that was released, 4 songs of the 1930s to 1940s are sung by the lead actress. Brilliant. Caris Van Houten. Houten, I suppose, Houten. And 4 songs, as I say, were sung by her. 3 of them were in German and 1 in English. So let me just get into the cast. We've got Caris Van Houten playing Ellis de Vries, or also Rachel Steen. Those are 2 names she is in this film. And they did a brilliant choice here choosing her. She is just amazing. Now, some of her films that she was involved in, she has gone to Hollywood, but she comes back to Europe and involved in a lot of European films. But these are just some of the films. She was in Susie Q, 1999. She was in Black Swans, 2005. She was in Valkyrie, 2008. That is, again, a wartime film about Tom Cruise is in it, about the plot to assassinate Hitler. She was in Repo Man, 2010. She was in The Fifth Estate, 2013. She was in Brimstone, 2016, which is a Western, which I've reviewed and I've got in my collection. She was in Domino, 2009. She was in Lost Girls and Love Hotels, 2020. Honestly, she is a revelation in this film. Absolutely. And I like the fact that she's not an Hollywood actress, in that she goes to Hollywood to work, but she does a lot and comes back to Holland and does European films. Yeah. Then we've got Sebastian Koch, who plays Ludwig Munz. Now, he was in, I don't know whether it's a good thing to say, but still, it's not too bad. He was in A Good Day to Die Hard, 2013, which gone as the Die Hard films. It's not considered one of the best. He was in Bridge of Spies, 2015, and also Bel Canto, 2018. And then you look and he's in a lot of TV series and TV films. Then we've got Tom Hoffman, who plays Hans Ackerman. Films that he was notable films. The Fourth Man, 1983. Shadow Man, 1988. And Dogville, 2003. Those were just some of the sort of main films. Not as many sort of cinema films, but there's a lot of TV series and TV films. So they're sort of the main cast members on this. And my opinion of this film is I was just totally blown away with it. It's great always to experience, particularly in the history of the Second World War. There's a lot to cover, and seeing a Dutch occupation film is absolutely fascinating, and particularly as well, and that the Allies had landed. This is after uh, D-Day in June 1944. So, what is going on? A lot of the Dutch people are wondering whether to go south, um, to get into the liberation. But then, of course, the Germans are retreating and they're taking a lot of things with them. And there's all the Jews as well that are still there. They've been quickly transported further into Germany, Austria. Um, we've got all that sort of going on as well. So it's a fascinating time because what do you do? I mean, you've been given great hope, particularly for the Jews, that the Allies have landed, but yet the Nazis are not giving up so easily, and they're going to still implement what they believe, the final solution of getting rid of as many Jews as possible. And then, of course, you've got the resistance movement. I think also it's important that the resistance in the Second World War in terms of Europe is always something fascinating to look at, because if you were a resistance fighter, you were living quite a difficult life. You had to appear, obviously, to be doing a normal life, but then in the background, you were doing serious planning, attacks on Germans, and then intelligence gathering, trying to find out what's going on. And the Allies were sending like ammunition as well to the resistance. We see in the film the parachute drops, sending arms, and all that kind of things that you need. And things to help with the intelligence, radios, transmitters, lots of things. So it's an amazing um, uh, time, really, and one that's well worth looking into. And how dangerous it was, because often the Nazis, if they found, like what they're attempting in this, there's going to be serious consequences. If anybody was assassinated by the resistance, then the Nazis would do lots of reprisals. They would go to, say, a settlement or village, line everybody up, men, women, and children, and shoot them all. So for every one death, there could be absolutely loads of people that suffered as a consequence. But I've gone about that. But what makes this epic film, because you get the story, is about the central character, and it is brilliantly played by Carice Van Houten. I'm sorry about that. Van Houten, I suppose that's how Houten. Her performance is amazing. The director knew exactly what they were doing when they cast her in this role. She just dominates the film in so many ways, and knowing that it's based on a true character, somebody who was real, you can't help but admire this woman. Such a strong woman, such a clever, um, intelligent way. Imagine she worked for the Dutch resistance. She was recruited, and then had to go in with the Nazis and sell her body to them. Basically, she had to do all these things, risk her own life, get the intelligence, absolutely do all sorts to help in the war effort. It's absolutely amazing. And what is, I think, when you see, you can't help but admire her. And right through the film, you're wondering, of course, will she survive? Will she get found out? Um, I'm not going to give that ending away. But I just was absolutely loving this film. It makes you, again, I talk about my love of films. You know, when you see so many different types of films, it makes me excited. And this is another wartime film that is giving another outlook. And it's not on the British outlook. We're looking from a Dutch viewpoint. We forget the Second World War impact on the world. That's why it was a world war. Was very big. And it's interesting to see the reaction about what happened. And these are historical events that people, everyday people, became, in many ways, heroes and heroines. They risked their lives and for a greater good, you know, particularly in the resistance. And you know, we should salute them as much as we salute the soldiers who, you know, lose their lives, and that is sad. The resistance is another important part, and we should always never forget them either. Definitely. Yeah, it makes me quite emotional actually thinking about that. As these things do. But yeah, I think this is a great film. As I say, it's got the typical Verhoeven sex in it. He loves to have his sex in it, and he picked a beautiful woman in Caris von Houten, who is amazing performance in this film, and she's just great. But it is I just highly recommend this. I was just blown away to see another historical side in the Second World War, which was such an amazing period in history, and the consequences of the Second World War are still being felt today. What happened then is very much how Europe was shaped and what happened with the Cold War and all that sort of stuff. It's an amazing period. Anyhow, I've gone on much from Choose. You know I love this film, and I'd just like to say as well, I've got the DVD here. Look at that great cover. There's the back there. The quality. I couldn't believe the quality on this DVD. Superb quality of film. I could easily have thought I was watching a Blu-ray. This is what happens sometimes with the DVD quality on stuff that's just a bit below. You can sometimes just think, wow, this is great. And this is an example of where I thought I was watching a Blu-ray. Yeah, I did. Anyhow, I've gone on too long there. So that's it. Hope you've enjoyed my review. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and we'll let you know when I put out these videos. And you can look in the playlist and see all the films that I have reviewed, and TV series, and also a bit of music. And if you like this video as well, please give the video a like. It gets it out onto YouTube, so other people might enjoy it. And it's good for the channel. It helps my channel. Also, if you've got any comments, please put your comments down. I love to read your comments, and I'll always reply to them. And that's it. So all I've got to say is, I'll see thee again.